Hi to everyone. I am Dr.S.P.SARANYA, Assistant Professor in the Department of Commerce with Computer Application in Dr. SNS College of Arts and Science. Today, the session going to see about the arguments of Python functions. So, Python arguments. So, arguments already we know the argument. It passed into values from the functions. So Python functions can accept arguments which are values are passed to the function when it's called. So only calling process is made the time the function is working. So there are different type of arguments in Python. First one, positional arguments, keyword arguments, and arbitrary positional arguments, and arbitrary keyword arguments, and combining all type of arguments. These are all the types of arguments. So arguments are specified after the function name that is inside the parentheses. So you can add as many arguments and just separate them with a comma. So the first arguments uh, with mandatory arguments passed to a function in order to be defined, and then it's on identified by the parameter name. They are useful when user want to specific name some arguments and leave others with default values. So you can use to pass a variable number of positional arguments to a function. So the functions to organize our code to make it simpler to use, like for example on a recipe, a function encompasses a set of instructions that tells the computer what to do. However, we have to plan different types of dishes and with diverse ingredients. So the arguments makes function more versatile, enabling them to perform useful computations. Without arguments, function cannot respond dynamically or process different data, making them less flexible and reusable the various tasks. In general, function arguments are input values that determine the behavior and output of a function. By passing different arguments, we can customize the function's behavior and process different inputs to generate different outputs. So Python has built-in function argument types we have used to call a function and have them perform their intended task. So in Python, we have preset values if the user did not specify the value when it's calling the function. The default value can be data type like a list, dictionary, string, and a number, and etc. So default arguments are defined by assigning values to arguments in the function definition. So it's named arguments or parameters passed to a Python function that specify argument name and value. This makes the code more readable by eliminating the need to remember the order of parameters. Its keyword arguments can also set default values for specific parameters. Using the keyword arguments enhances the code readability and maintainability. So keyword arguments explicitly state the which argument matches with parameter. So this avoids ambiguity and clarifies the developer intent. So this code defines a function called greeting that takes two arguments and an optional keyword argument. The function body prints a greeting message with the parameters passed to it. The code shows how to call the greeting function, passing in the required parameters and an optional keyword. So in a Python enables function to accept an unlimited number of arguments. This allows for flexibility when creating a function that requires an unknown number of arguments. Its arbitrary arguments are denoted with an asterisk before the argument name. These arguments can create a list of dictionary of the past arguments. So this code defines a function. It's called some numbers which takes an arbitrary number of arguments. The asterisk before arguments indicate it is argument will take an arbitrary number of arguments. It takes the series of numbers as arguments and adds them together. Returning the sum of the function, then it iterates through each of the arguments, adding them together and storing the total in a variable. It's called the result. Finally, the function returns the result. So the arguments are when calling a function, they are position independent. Its meaning there matters. Arguments are defined when the function is created and cannot when the function is called. Argument must be given in the same as defined when invoking a function. Thank you so much.